Hi everyone, it's Steffi from the Novelty Corner. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to Vlogmas Day 10. Today we're going to be looking at bookshelf 15, which is the very top shelf on my third bookshelf. It is the second last of the A to Z bookshelves, so I'm really excited to share it with you. If you've not been following along with this series, I've been filming one shelf bookshelf tours over the last couple of months. I will leave it linked down below and also on the screen so that you can check it out if you are interested. I'm going to cut to the shelf overview so you can see what it looks like all put together, and I've also pulled all the books off the shelf so that I can share them with you. Alright, so this is shelf 15. I'm sorry if the camera's a bit wobbly, I am standing on the bed, but you can see an overview of the shelf. I just have a mug and a little Girl Boss plaque up here. Let's pull all these down and have a chat about them. Okay, so now you've seen the shelf overview, let's talk about the books that are on this shelf. The first one is Hold Back the Tide by Melinda Salisbury. This is a book that I requested for review from Scholastic, and I don't think I read the summary correctly because this was a whole lot creepier than I thought it was going to be. It's definitely one of those books that stayed with me this year. It's about a young girl who lives in this very remote village. Her and her father have the job of keeping track of the tide of the lake or the lock, I think, of this little village, and then something happens and the tide goes out and suddenly people in the village begin to be murdered in horrible ways, and it turns out that maybe something not quite human is there after all. So this would have been a delightfully creepy October read. Next up we have all of my V.E. Schwab books. First up we have The Monsters of Verity duology, which features This Savage Song and Our Dark Duet. This is a young adult series that is about a world where acts of great violence create literal monsters. So whenever there is something truly horrific that happens in the world, it breeds monsters, and so this is a very post-apocalyptic dystopian type world. We follow Kate Harker and August Flynn as their paths cross and their worlds collide, and I really enjoyed this one. I have The Dark Vault Bind Up by V.E. Schwab. This includes the Archived and the Unbound. This is a portal doorway story and it was really fun. I really enjoyed it. Another really great YA story. I have Vicious and Vengeful, the two books in the Vicious cycle. These are superhero slash anti-superhero stories. The two main characters in Vicious, Victor and Eli, begin experiments to give themselves superhuman powers. They eventually succeed, but it has very unintended consequences. I much preferred Vicious to Vengeful. I think Vicious is a much tighter story, but I can appreciate what Schwab was trying to do with Vengeful as well. There is the Shades of Magic trilogy, A Darker Shade of Magic, A Gathering of Shadows, and Conjuring of Light. I don't read a ton of fantasy anymore, but these books really gripped me from start to finish. I loved the concept of the traveling magic in this story and Kel being able to travel through to different types of London. So there's Red London, White London, Black London, and Grey London, and each of those Londons have varying relationships with magic. So some have none, some have too much and it's destroyed the town, and some seemingly have the balance. These are also on the reread list. And I also have the first two books in her middle grade series. So there is City of Ghosts and Tunnel of Bones. I do really love the covers on these. These are all about a young girl who can actually see ghosts, and the really trippy thing is that her parents have a book series but also now a TV show about ghost hunting where one is a believer and one is a skeptic, and yet they don't know that their own child can see ghosts. I have two Brian Selznick books. So the first being The Invention of Hugo Cabret, which is very beloved and won the Caldecott. This is a story told through images and words, and despite its hefty size, it is absolutely stunning and well worth a read. And I also have Wonderstruck, which is told in pictures and in words. This book has two stories told 50 years apart, and it is absolutely beautiful. I have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is a really nice leather edition. I have Mercy Point by Anna Snoekstra, which is a love Oz YA sci-fi thriller type story. Shuri by Nic Stone, which is part of the Marvel novelization series. I have the Lockwood & Co series by Jonathan Stroud, which is young adult horror. The first book is The Screaming Staircase, The Whispering Skull, The Hollow Boy, The Creeping Shadow, and The Empty Grave. I love, 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 love this series. It is well worth a read if you like spooky books with ghosts. I have some of my Shaun Tan books. The rest are on the next shelf down. There is Eric, The Bird King and Other Stories, and The Singing Bones. And I have three Laini Taylor books. So I have Night of Cake and Puppets, which is a companion book to her Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. This one follows two side characters from that original trilogy and it is just gorgeous. And then the Strange the Dreamer duology. So book one is Strange the Dreamer and still has one of the most gorgeous covers ever. And then Muse of Nightmares, which is the sequel. And these are beautiful fantasy stories that also have a lot of love for the art of storytelling embedded in them. So those are all of the books from bookshelf 15. Today's shout out is Tamika from Library of Tomes. She was one of the other co-hosts from the Love in the Night Readathon, which is where I met her and found her channel. She is a fellow romance booktuber and she talks a lot about dark or taboo romances, which I find really interesting because I do read some taboo books, but I don't often read dark romance books necessarily outside of Katie Roberts stuff. So it's been really great to get some recommendations from her channel around that. And she's also a big fan of the Queen Takes Night series. I've forgotten what the series title is, but she's been reading that series by Jolie Sue Burkhart. So that has been really entertaining to watch because it's reminded me that I need to go back to that series. I will leave a link to Tamika's channel down below so you can check her out, and I hope that you do. If you want to know any more about these books, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I'd love to chat to you about them. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I'll see you very soon in my next video. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. Bye.